Welcome back, adventurers, to episode 5 of the Pale Lands. Now, really quick, if you've been following along, quick recap, Sylvetta, you're 23, you used to live in the city of Kantos, you studied at the Institute of Antiquities, the Imperial Institute of Antiquities, where your father worked and studied pretty much his entire life. Probably about 7 months ago at this point, 6 months when we started, 7 months ago, your father disappeared and left no trace of where he went. He just sort of vanished into his work, studying something to do with anthropology or archaeology, and just disappeared like he did many times. And you haven't spoken to him since. Now, a few months ago, your father's friend Solomon showed up with a letter. The letter basically stated that your father was looking at something in Istrakar, in Nidora. So, you found a fellow companion in the bard Eladir, and you traveled east all the way across the lands, across all of the farms of Alara into a new country, Nidora, where it's desert, and you can still see scars of some of the magical battles that happened there hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. And you traveled across this desert landscape. You encountered some people on horseback that were, wanting to either rob from you or kill you just because it was fun. But you made it to Istrakar. You found some ruins there. In those ruins, you found a statue, a room that your father supposedly had been working in, and as the letter stated, there was something on your person, a medallion that was given to you by your mother as a child before she vanished or died. You're not really sure. Your father never really talked about her. But this medallion seemed to fit perfectly into the chest of this statue that you found inside the ruins. Something that your father, according to the letter, he didn't realize was important until after he had already started working there. He realized that, wow, this looks exactly like the medallion. I need to get Sylvetta Thade here. So you did. You inserted the medallion into the statue, and the statue's chest popped open. You found a rolled up parchment with a sort of weird, glowing rune-like text over the front that, as you looked at it, seemed to shift, as if protected and only meant to be viewed by specific people or under specific circumstances. Whatever was on this map, you weren't really 100% able to decipher, but you did notice that there was the markings on this map, and the map depicted the lands south, across the sea, across the sea that is called the Eye of the Gods, and in the lands that are now the colonies, where an old world used to exist. And so, from Istrakar, after being attacked in the middle of the night, Solomon died in your arms, and you decided that the best course of action was to figure out what the hell is going on, figure out what this map, why it's important. And so you traveled to the capital city of Saval in Nidora, where you saw the Ring of Echoes, this massive hill in the center of the city, that had these veins of gold that sort of spread around it, and you saw all these little alcoves with hundreds, if not thousands, of statues that ringed around this thing, around this hill. And atop the hill, you saw the Palace of the Immortals, where the Council of Immortals that rules over the Nidora countryside. From there, you went into a tavern looking for information and probably some rest, and in the middle of that night, you encountered an Imperial and noticed that they were being a little shifty, that they were eyeing you. So you went over to talk to them, and they threatened you, and before they could stab you, you stabbed them, and with your magical dagger, you set them on fire. Their clothing caught, and really quickly, more than normal, went up in flames, and you watched as what they looked like an Imperial, the figure seemed to shimmer, and underneath, in this crowded bar, you noticed a bird-like figure, half human, pale skin that turned into feathers, a beak, big black eyes, and it screeched at you as it set on fire and melted into black goo. And nobody seemed to notice because it was very packed, and it was just another fucking night for them. And you, before anybody could realize what was happening, dipped out of there. You grabbed Eladir, found a captain named Shiloh Mishgrim, convinced him to let you onto the ship, and also convinced him to leave that night, and you have now been sailing on the ocean for 2 nights. And now you were sitting in your bunk, in your hammock, with Eladir sleeping under you. You pulled out the map, and you realized that a beam of moonlight had hit the map, and the image of the map, all of those weird runes that seem to shift as you look at them, seemed to concentrate, and you were able, through this moonlight, able to decipher almost exactly where this map was pointing, somewhere south, beyond a mountain range that is now called the Southern Shield, way south. So now you know you need to get to the Pale Lands. You need to get to an area south of the Southern Shield, and that's where we sort of left off. The entire ship, as you were looking at the map, the entire ship seemed to lurch as if caught on something, and a bunch of the sailors, pirates, a bunch of the sailors looked over the edge and then froze. And as they were looking over the edge and frozen there, you watched as a few of them leapt over the side and decided to jump into the water for whatever reason. Shouting commenced from there. The captain, Shiloh Mishkern, came out, and you heard him mutter, "Mermaids." And that is where we left off. The entire ship has stopped moving. The sails are down. You see that the ship should be moving, but the sails are down, and there seems to be some commotion in the water, screams coming from the water. You haven't looked. You don't know what's going on. So that's where we start, and I need you to roll initiative.
All right, let's do this. That's cocked. 8.
An 8 total?
Yep.
All right, roll for Eladier. Eladier gets a... where's his initiative? He gets a +2 to initiative.
He got 13 then.
13. Let's roll for El Capitan. Really bad. Who actually... Alright. And now for the crew. Nice. With a 15 total.
Wow, they roll better than any of us.
And... Okay. So, the crew is the first one up. That makes sense. They are the first ones to have noticed. First thing that happens is you see that the crew, as they're sort of the last thing that the captain told them was to move away from the railing, move away from the edge. So you see that a bunch of them have started handing out harpoons to each other, bows, all of the weapons that they could find, and they have sort of huddled together in the center. Now the ones that are in the water are going to try to swim and get back onto the... Actually, really quick, let's make a few rolls. Fail. Success. So we'll say that a couple of them seem to have, as they're in the water, they're just treading water and stuck there. Not that you can see this, but one of them, who hits the water and sort of shakes his head, immediately realizes where he is and starts calling for help. Help! Help! Get me up! Get me up! And starts to try to climb. So we're going to see if he can make it. He does not. He starts grabbing the netting and gets caught and is stuck in the water. The rest of these guys actually need to make saves for them as well. Fail, barely. Success. And the two at the front of the ship, fail. Oh boy, fail. And the two in the back. That's a nat 20 for the one at the helm, and a fail. You see these guys, oh my god, move to the edge, and look over and freeze in place as well. They seem to be caught by some sort of singing that you are not able to hear at the moment. They are charmed at the moment. So, that is their turn. There are 3 sailors on the ship that are not currently charmed by this effect. So,
okay.
That is their turn. This guy is going to move to the center. Captain, what do we do? And this guy at the helm is currently like trying to move the wheel, and nothing is happening. And he calls out, "Captain, the ship is stuck. What do we do?" And that is their turn. Now, you are standing next to Eladier, who is freaking the fuck out. But what you hear is the sound of water churning. It sounds like, the only way I can equate it is like piranha there is a lot of movement under the water. There's a lot of sloshing going on, and the men start to scream. One of them dies. If you could look over the water, you see it all just turn red. One of them dies, and the other one, who is caught on the side, is trying to get up, and he can't get unstuck. That's what you see. And I will say that you see as... I'm going to say that at the moment you only see the two. This one lunges out of the water and onto the deck and is going to try to spear the one who is at the edge of the water there. So, that is a hit. Yeah, just barely a hit, and a nat 1. So, you see this mermaid leaps out of the water, tries to bite one of the sailors, misses, and then spears them to the ground as they miss. It all happens in slow motion. And you see they take 11 points of damage from the spear, and he is like pinned to the ground, and you hear him crying out with this trident stuck in his belly, and instantly just, what's happening? And that is their turn. And now it is Eladier, who is going to run over to you, and he's just like, what do we do? What do we do? Sylvetta, I really wanted a room. I wanted my own room. I wanted my own bed, and now we're being attacked. What do we do? And he puts his hand on you, and in his commotion, he is going to accidentally, through his anxiety, give you Bardic Inspiration. So you have a D6 of Bardic... a D8 of Bardic Inspiration.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And... Let's see. Yeah, I guess he's gonna use his bow and just fire at that thing. Like he's freaking out. This isn't what he does, but he's still, holding under pressure. And he's going to fire his bow over at that one mermaid that has appeared with a 15 to hit, which does hit. So he fires that, and you see this thing takes a bolt to the back and just looks back at him, and you see these mandibles that come out, almost like a human face, but you see sort of divisions in the mouth and stuff, and as it roars, like Predator unfurls, and you see just sharp, jagged teeth, like in this huge smile. And it turns over and looks at Eladier, breaks the crossbow bolt. But that is his turn. It is now your turn.
Okay, I think I'm going to do exactly like he did, of pulling out my bow and shooting at one of them. And so I just get to roll both the D8 and the D20?
The Bardic Inspiration, let me check something.
I've never had Bardic Inspiration, so I don't know how it works.
I believe ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws. So yes,
Okay.
You can use it.
And is it just the one time, or is it like...
It is a one-time use, yeah.
Gotcha. I'm gonna save it then. Save it for a better time. I got my short bow. 20 to hit.
20 hits. You're firing at the one that is currently at pinning the guy to the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
8 points of damage.
Okay, another 8 points of damage. What are you firing with a short bow?
Yeah, short bow.
So another arrow right into its back. This time it screeches. You see purple blood spray across the deck. Actually, I need you and Eladier to both make a wisdom saving throw.
13.
13 actually just barely makes it. And Eladier. Wow, a 13 on the die. So, and that is the exact DC, just so you know. So both of you are able to push through this. As you're getting ready to come out, you hear what you thought was at first the sound of the waves, this sort of echo that rings out across the horizon enter your brain. And then it just turns to white noise. It just turns back to the sound of the ocean. Just a... And the sound of battle that is now happening, the screams that are happening behind you at the helm. Who, this guy who was at the helm trying to figure out why the ship won't move. So you guys push through. You're able to both attack. That is what happens. What else would you like to do with your turn?
I think I'm just gonna say to Eladir, just hold your ground. Okay. Save the crew the best you can.
The captain, who at this point he comes out of the door to his quarters, reaches up and starts ringing a bell. Ding, 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 ding. Starts ringing a bell, and he's stomping on the lower decks, waking up all of the rest of the crew who is down below. Who probably about half of the crew is up on the deck right now, or at least not below deck, I should say, because some of them are over the railing.
Yeah.
He starts to muster them, and you see he's going to run up the stairs over here, and he's going to try to attack that one mermaid there, which I believe hits. Let's see. That does hit. Oh, nice, and he makes 3 attacks. So yeah, that's a hit, and a hit. So he actually does 24 points of damage to this mermaid here. You see, like a master fighter cuts through. This thing screeches in pain. And I'm gonna say that because it's not quite flanking, I'm gonna homebrew those rules a little bit for those of you who are watching or listening. As long as on the opposite side of the creature there is another person that is your ally, I'm going to say that it doesn't have to be exactly the opposite side. That doesn't make sense. If you're standing next to somebody and you have an ally, you should get advantage. So he actually puts that thing down because of his sneak attack. Just enough to take that out. So he runs over, slashes the back of this thing. It sprays that purple blood across the deck and onto his clothing. And he's currently basically shirtless. His shirt, his jacket is open. There's nothing underneath. Of course, he is lean and ripped. And as that sprays, you see he takes one final plunge through the head of this thing, and the mermaid collapses onto the ground with those mandibles wide open, teeth bared. That's the captain. And he turns around, looks at the rest of the crew. We need to get this ship moving. And that is that turn. He turned Scottish there for a second because I forgot what his accent was as I was speaking. That is now the crew, who you hear movement down below. I need to make saves for the crew. Fail. We're going up this way and back around. Fail. Oh boy. Fail. Nat 1. Fail. Fail. My God, that's 2 2s and okay, there we go. He makes it, and now the guys in the back. Success. Fail. So the guy at the helm and this guy here continue to push through. This guy's going to try to make his way up the railing using his turn. That's a nat 1. He tries to go up the netting, falls back into the water. Everybody else, they just jump into the water. And there was, I believe, one other success. No, I did say it was just the 2. So this guy rushes over to the railing. The ones who are at the railing leap over. The deck is now completely cleared, and you watch as most of them just willingly jump into the water. And that's their turn. The rest of the ones that are downstairs, you hear them mustering. It's going to take them a little bit before they can come up.
Okay.
You watch as... let's see... Okay. Another one goes down. That was a nat 20 for one of them. Another, you hear screaming, "Ah!" and just churning water from underneath. For the ones on this side, miss. That's a hit. Okay. And... Okay. You hear... Nope. One of the guys gets... he screams out as something cuts his leg, and he calls up to everybody up on the deck as he sort of breaks through after that pain. The charm wears off, and he realizes he's in the water, and he calls out to the crew above. They're in the water! They're in the water! Starts calling out in fear, and you now are aware that there is many of these creatures circling the ship like prey. Like predators. And that is their turn. It is Elidir's turn, who is going to grab you by the shoulders. We shouldn't have come here, Sylvetta! And he's going to give you another bardic inspiration, shaking you. And he is going to... the effects have worn off for you guys because you saved the first time. So you are immune to that call. So he's going to rush over to that. He's going to look over. And he's going to use his action to make a perception check to figure out what is going on with the ship. So that's a nat 20. You see, he looks around and he's like, they've stopped the ship. They stopped the ship. Sylvetta, they stopped the ship. He is the only one at the moment, other than maybe a few of the crew members, who realize that there are these long seaweed-like colored rope that just descend into the darkness underneath the ship that have caught the rudder. That you see harpoons have been placed into the side of the ship. The whole ship, by at least a dozen ropes, I say, they're made of, a rope of some kind. But mermaid ropes that have been placed in various places along the ship that are literally holding it down, and the ropes descend into the darkness. The ship is not moving, so until somebody cuts those ropes, you are stuck here fighting. Okay. That is his turn. It is now your turn.
Can I see any of these ropes from the top deck?
You, not from where you are right now, because you are, a good 5 to 10 feet away from the edge of the ship. Okay. But you are no longer affected by the charm. You are completely immune. So you can rush over to the railing and look over if you want.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so you rush over to the railing. Do you want to go to the port side or the starboard
the opposite side of
okay, so you want to go to where Elidir is?
No, the other side.
Oh, the opposite side of Elidir. Gotcha. So yeah, you look over and you see that somebody has fallen back into the water and is looking up at you, trying to get, they're a good 20, 30 feet down into the, below you. But they're on their back, floating in the water, looking up at you as they were trying to get up onto the railing, onto the netting. I keep saying railing. And it's when you look over the railing that you notice that there is lots of fins breaking the surface from the tails of these mermaids. And you see that they are circling many people. The one who got cut, you see that he is surrounded by 3 or 4 of them that are just going around him. So they seem to be hunting in packs. They seem to be hunting in packs and taking them out methodically together instead of focusing on one at a time or whatever. So that's what you see. As far as whether or not you see the ropes going into the depths, I would say at first glance, you don't see anything more than churning water. There's just foam and moving waves everywhere that's just too hard for you to see. If you want to use your action to try and get a better look at them, you can, or you can just jump into the water.
No, I will... The guy that got hit, I will take my short bow and I will try to hit one of the...
The ones that's under the water there?
Yeah, okay. One of the ones that was trying to hit him.
Go for it. And I'm also going to mark the ones that have broken through.
That would be an 18 to hit.
18 to hit. This guy. So these ones are no longer affected. The ones with the red circle are no longer affected by the charm.
Okay.
18 to hit. With disadvantage, please, because they are under the water.
Gotcha. That would be a 17 to hit.
Still hits.
And then a 9 damage.
Okay. So you fire... You hear a screech from underneath, and you see that one of the fins, as the arrow sinks into it, one of the fins breaks off and starts to circle around towards you. Okay. So now, I will say you can see one of those creatures, and you said 9 damage. Has come to where that one sailor has broken free, and he's trying to get back up onto the netting while there's all of this commotion happening. So that's what happens there. It is now the captain's turn, who is going to turn, and he is going to... He's just gonna do the captain thing. He rips off the jacket that he's wearing, and just looks at you like he full on Will Turner, grabs the netting, stands on the side of the railing, pulls out his rapier and looks at you. We need to get moving. And he just swan dives into the water, like head first, breaks into the water, and he's going to swim over to this one, and he's going to stab it 3 times.
Hell yeah.
That's a hit, a miss, and a hit. So, Jesus. 2 of them hit. And you know what? He is going to swim to this side so that he gets that sneak attack. So that is... Oh my god, 40 points of damage to this mermaid here. So this one dies. He just shanks it basically, and looks up at you. Cut the ropes, damn it! And that is his turn. It is now the crew's turn, who are they're gonna try to save. Success. Fail. Success. Fail. And these ones as well also succeeded. This one and this one. At this point, many crew members start to rush out onto the deck.
Yes, reinforcements!
So, that is their turn. It is now the mermaids, who... You see now multiple mermaids break the surface. This one, you see at least another 5 that have broken the surface, and you can now see them circling the ship. This one is going to make its attacks. That's a hit and another hit. So the one on the right side of the ship. Okay, so you watch as this mermaid takes a harpoon onto the guy that's like right next to, like below Eladier, but not the one who is currently charmed, or who's saved from being charmed. So the one who's still charmed, who's just treading water with this sort of glazed over look, the mermaid takes a harpoon, stabs him into the back. You hear him cry out. Immediately the charm wears off, and the mermaid yanks and starts pulling him down into the water. So that's what happens over here. This guy is almost dead. And then this guy over here is going to get attacked by 2 mermaids. That is a miss and a miss. He somehow is fighting them off. 2 harpoons is able to succeed. Almost everybody has succeeded from the charm. And I should say, I should probably roll for the ones who just came out. So that is a fail, 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 yep, and a fail. These guys rush out. They're not very wise, and make it to the edge of the railing. This guy is going to move there. They are just staring into the water now, just like the others. They haven't jumped in yet. That is what we see. And it is Eladier's turn, who is going to try to save the one who is being dragged underwater. So he's going to fire his bow at that one. And that's a miss. The arrow, the crossbow bolt hits the water and then just starts to float. It doesn't penetrate deep enough. So that is his turn. And he's gonna look around, and you see that, like, if you turn over and look over your shoulder, he's just freaking out. Like, he's just sort of shell-shocked, doesn't know what to do, hasn't really been in a battle other than the one time that you guys were attacked in the middle of the night. So he is at a loss right now and is just going through the motions of trying to help, but is not very helpful. So I think that's all he can do. It is now Sylvetta's turn.
Okay, I am going to... Oh god, we have those ropes that we need to cut. So I can't see any of the ropes from the top deck, right?
At the moment when you look over, because the ship sort of goes straight down and then curves, right? So it curves inwards, and then just below the water.
Yeah.
So at the moment, the only thing that you see is lots of netting along the side to like help people get up. But other than that, you don't see any sort of harpoons or anything sticking out. If there are any, they're under the ship.
Okay. I guess I will follow the captain into the water.
Okay, so what does that look like? What does Sylvetta do before she leaps into the water?
I'm just gonna kind of be looking over and I'm just gonna yell back at Elodie, just stay on the ship, I'll take care of it. And she's just going to literally just leap over the edge and drop in.
She swan dives into the water next. The water is freezing cold. Instantly, Sylvetta just takes in this deep breath, breaks the surface, starts swimming around, and you just see it's like the last moments of the Titanic. There's just people in the water that are like trying desperately to get back onto the ship, and they are also being picked off one by one. So, you leap into the water. That's your movement. What are you doing then?
I would like to try to see if I can see any of the ropes.
Yeah, you turn around. As you hit the water and look, you see dozens of ropes under. Like you see the bottom of the ship that is like caked with barnacles, and every little bit or so you see sort of ropes just extending into the darkness below you.
Okay. I'll use my rapier and try to see if I can cut one of the ropes closest to me.
Yeah, just go ahead and make like an athletics check for me.
Okay.
Actually, no, don't do that. Just make an attack.
Okay.
Easy. You swing your rapier through the water. Very, very difficult because you're underwater. You cut one of the ropes, and you watch as it just sort of floats in the water.
Okay.
You only get the one attack, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The captain is going to push that dead mermaid out of the way, and he's going to grab the one who is freaking out, who is looking up at you. He's going to grab him, turn him around, and say, "Cut the damn ropes!" and just start just yelling at people to cut, like literally just calling out to everybody, "Cut them! Cut them!" And just yelling at everybody to cut the ropes. And he's going to do that same. He's going to use all three attacks to just move along. He's literally swimming through the water and just swinging a sword. Swinging a sword. Moving another 5 feet and swinging the sword. Cuts 3 ropes immediately. And that is his turn. Now the crew. These guys have survived. He's going to move over here to try to help his friend. This guy is going to start swinging his blade and start cutting the ones at the front. That's that. These guys are going to leap into the water. Still effective. Actually, let's... Success. Fail. So one guy jumps in. This guy does not. And then he is no longer affected. He's going to try to break free. He's going to use his athletics check to try and get the harpoon out of him. And that's a nat 1. He's under the water, just looking up at the slowly shrinking ship as he's dragged under and starts to drown. This guy is going to, hearing the captain, is going to cut the rest of the ropes on his side as well. He gets his 3 attacks as well. Starts cutting through and is going to move this way. At this point, about half of the ropes have been cut, and you watch as the ship starts to move. The sails filled. There's a lot of movement. So now the ship is going to start to slowly move away from you.
Okay.
And then there's 2 more on the other side that need to save. Fail and fail. That's the same roll twice. These 2 break into the water. Elodie's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he's going to fire at the one who is dragging. That's a nat 20. So Elodie is going to use that. So this one takes 12 points of damage. And that is Elodie's turn. Unless he can do something else. No. nothing that he wants to do. So that's his turn. It is now the mermaids who are going to try and attack this guy with the harpoon. Miss. And a miss. How? And that one is going to just continue to drag him. So this guy is too far. Unless you want to try and save him, he is just getting dragged under as food for later. This one is going to swim and using its tail leap onto the deck right next to Ellidir and is going to try to harpoon him. That's a 19 on the die. Oh. You see Ellidir looks at you, Sylvetta, and the mermaid will then leap back into the water and drag Ellidir.
Hell no.
That is that turn. Ellidir is going to try. I'm going to let you roll this. He is going to try to break free. He needs to. Hold on. He needs to. It's a strength. It's a strength check against the mermaid.
Okay.
You need to beat a 15. That is a 9 total. So you see Ellidir starts flailing, and as he's calling, the last thing you hear is Ellidir's name, or Ellidir's voice calling out your name before he gets pulled underwater. It is now your turn.
I would like to try to save Ellidir.
Okay, so you're in the water, actually, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the water. What do? Do
I see him pulled into the water yet?
Would you like to go underwater to see?
Yeah.
Okay, you dive under the water, start to look, and you see the figure of Ellidir, who is only a couple feet below the ship level, really. Mm-hmm. So he's still surface level, unlike you do see another one way down, 30, 60 feet below, who is flailing and a trail of blood just leaking into the water. And you see just ropes. I mean, it's this horrifying nightmare scene where you just see these large, 10-foot long tails moving through the water, ropes that are being cut, the ship is starting to move, and bodies being dragged underwater, and lots of commotion above. You look up and it's just foam and moving legs and people swinging blades and punching, and then you see a couple people down below who are being dragged, and one of them is Ellidir, who... let's see. Your movement is halved underwater. So Ellidir is 35 feet away, so you could get to just being underneath the ship right about here.
Okay.
That's about as far as you can make it under the ship.
Okay.
Unless you want to use your action to dash and double your movement and get to him.
No, I will... God, this is so difficult. Because if I get to him, I'm still not going to be able to do anything.
Right. I don't know... You don't have any spells or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay.
So I guess I'll fire an arrow and try to hit that one dragging him.
Underwater combat, you make attacks with disadvantage.
Oh, wait, I have cunning action, so I could use a bonus action to dash.
Okay. So you use your bonus action to dash?
Yeah, to get to him.
Okay.
And I'm going to try with my action to free him from the harpoon.
Okay. So, how would you like to do that? Would you like to use... You can use your action to cut the harpoon's rope if you'd like. I'll allow that.
Okay.
Or you can physically try to pull the harpoon away from...
I think I will try to use... to try to cut the rope.
Okay. Easy. You don't even have to roll for that. You come up to it, swing the blade, the rope comes free, and Ellidir starts to swim to the surface, and he surfaces, and you just hear the sound of commotion again. You are underwater, staring now at that mermaid.
Okay.
That is your turn.
Mm-hmm.
The captain is going to grab onto the netting. Onto the ship! Onto the ship! Come on, lads! And that is... he's going to use his action to cut 3 more ropes and start to climb back onto the deck. He reaches the railing, looks around, and realizes you're not on the ship. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have not saved. Success. Fail. 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 And success. So, one success. Another one leaps over. One success. The ones who have succeeded, these two, I guess they're gonna try to take on. They're gonna disengage. They're gonna be smart. They're gonna disengage. They're gonna grab the netting and try to climb up. Fail. And fail. Man. So they are currently grabbing onto the side of the ship, trying to climb up, but are not able to.
Okay.
So they've grabbed onto the ship. They're moving with the ship, but are still susceptible to attacks from the mermaids.
Okay.
This one is going to also do the same. He climbs up onto the deck, splashes on, and just it throws up onto the deck. The other two here fail and success. Another one climbs up. This one fails, and that one is in the water. These guys are now going to start firing bolts into the water, trying to save everybody. That is their turn. The mermaids, this one is going to drag that guy even further. He's gone. He did. That one, and then the one that is in front of these two are going to try to harpoon the one guy. Miss. And a hit. So one of the harpoons gets into his back, and they're going to make a check. So the green die is for the mermaid, and the red die is for the pirate. They need to beat the mermaid in order to break, and they don't. That guy gets pulled back, breaks into the water. He is harpooned and being pulled under as well. And then the one in front of you, Sylvetta, is going to attack you. Miss. And it doesn't have the harpoon, so it's actually going to use its bite and its claws. So that's a miss. And for the claws, that's a miss. So both attacks, you are prepped and ready. You're just a little too swift. That is their turn. And Eladir, who is going to... Eladir... Okay. Mermaid is making a wisdom save. Fail. The one in front of you. Eladir, who breaks the surface, sees it attacking you, waves his hand, and you see this sort of shimmering sparkle that just moves through the air, almost like fireflies. And as it does, it's sort of like pixie dust stays in the air, and it catches the mermaid, and you see it kind of blinks and just starts to stare. He cast Hypnotic Pattern. There's this sort of glimmering in the air around you, and that one is currently charmed. Yeah, so its speed is 0, and it is incapacitated, meaning that you and him are free to climb up. He's going to use his movement to try and get up, and it succeeds. He climbs up onto the top of the ship, and it is your turn. He hits the deck, also throws up. Your turn.
I'm going to do the same and try to climb up onto the ship.
Okay. If you want to use your action to just climb, you can.
Oh, okay, but I could just use my movement to get up, or...
Yeah, you can use your movement to get to it. It's just if you're doing anything else, there's an ability check required to climb your way up the netting. So you climb up onto the ship, past the one mermaid who is currently charmed by Eladir, and onto the deck. You hit the deck. That's your turn. The captain is going to climb up, turns around, come on! Get up! Get up! And he's going to fire more arrows, or... I guess he can't, so he's going to rush over to the ones that are, you know what, he will. He's going to take whatever he can find, pieces of chain, wooden, all of buckets, anything that he can find. He's just going to chuck him at the ones who are charmed, trying to break their charm. So, I'm going to give these 3 advantage.
Okay.
Because they are being, So, that is a success for one, a success for the other, and that's the same roll twice. So, one of them is just not able to.
Just lost to the...
This one is fine. This one who is harpooned in the back, he is going to try to make his check. Oh boy. Fail. He gets dragged into the water. Pulled under. And then there's one more who is in the water, and he fails still. That is their turn. These guys are going to hop up onto the ship.
You have one at the front too.
Yep. Yep. Totally fine. Okay. They make it up. These guys, they're gonna take the win as the ship starts to move, and drag that one under. Eladir is going to crawl. He like full speed just crawls to the mast, back to the mast, and just holding onto his crossbow, just staring, bleeding from the abdomen.
Oh, yeah.
And that is his turn. At this point, the ship is moving, and the ones who are lost to the water are lost to the water.
Okay.
So you watch as multiple bodies moving through. This is what's left of the crew.
Okay.
And the ship starts moving, and you see the captain, who is grabbing onto the netting, looks over at you. Okay, well, I'm gonna get some rest then. And just starts to move over. Is there anything that you want to do? He literally just pushes people start moving over to him. Captain, he just puts his hand in their face, moves them out of the way, and goes to his room, shuts the door behind him, and locks it.
I'm going to tend to Eladir's wounds.
Yeah, he, between the two of you, he casts Healing Word on himself, seals the wound. Seals the wound, looks up at you. Why did I agree to come with you?
It's for the story, man.
I hate being a bard. And that is that initiative. You survived. What do you do with the rest of your night?
We're gonna get drunk. Me and Eladir are gonna get fucking drunk after that.
So you go back to your bunk. You know, very, very close quarters, tight quarters. He is laying under you, just staring at like the bottom of your hammock, and the two of you are just passing this bottle back and forth, and you get blitzed. You wake up the next morning to the ship continuing on. People are quiet. They're pretty horrified, you know, losing a few members there. I think 3 people total. But you still have a full crew that is able to continue sailing the ship. The ship is now about a day, maybe a day and a half, depending on winds away. So I need you to roll another D20 for me.
Okay.
Okay. The next morning, you wake up to the sound of commotion up on the top deck. Doesn't sound like battle. Nothing like that. But you hear people screaming and shouting and that sort of thing. What do? You're probably hungover. You wake up and you hear people just shouting up top.
I guess I would try to listen to see what I can hear from what's going on.
Make a perception check. Are you staying in your bunk just listening to what's going on up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be 16.
16. You hear among a lot of things, you hear what do we do with her? What do we do with her? Captain! You hear that. You hear a woman's voice. Please, I can pay.
Okay, I'm gonna
You start to pick up other little pieces. You hear people shouting about a stowaway. That's what you hear at the moment.
I'm gonna go up to the deck and see what's going on.
You go up, you open the door, come out onto the deck. Beautiful, bright blue, sunny sky beaming down on the ship. The ship is sailing south still. And you see the captain, who is sort of circling a woman in tattered clothing, who is on her knees, begging. And the captain is holding a blade to her, and he's like, "You're doing a lot of talking, love. Pay up or learn to swim." What do you do?
I'm gonna ask, what's going on here?
Oh, well, we have someone who thinks that she could just sneak on my ship. That's not happening, love.
Can I look at the woman just kind of...
Sure. You see the woman who kind of like notices that you may be an ally in this situation. She runs over to you. "Please, my name is Tia. I can pay. I just can't pay right now. I'm on my way to the Pale Lands. My brother, he lives there. He can pay. Please, if I can just stay on the ship." And he backhands or smacks her, and he's like, "Shut up."
Damn. Does she seem like she's being honest?
Make an insight check.
18.
18 total.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see any reason for her. I mean, she's wearing really, really terrible clothing. There are tears streaming down her face. As he smacks her, you see she spits up some blood and just kind of wipes her mouth. But she's like, "My brother, he's in the army. He's stationed in the colonies. Please, I'm just trying to go see him. I haven't seen him in years." And seems to be telling the truth.
I'll turn to the captain and say, "I'll pay her away."
There's this moment where he looks at you, kind of gives you this look like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, it's fine. I'll pay her way.
Turns around to the girl. "Seems you have a lucky benefactor. No hard feelings."
And I'll walk over to the woman and I'll kind of escort her to my quarters.
Okay. Eladier, who was like only just now coming out. Oh, hi. Like literally like can't see, still hungover, probably drank a lot more than you did. And just he opens the door and you are passing him going back down. He's like, "Oh, okay, we're going back. All right." And starts moving into the deck with you. You have found a woman that has seemingly stowed away on the ship. You survived the attack of the mermaids, but you still have at least one other night to make it before you get to the colonies, but you are so close. That is probably a good point to end this episode. See what happens with your last night or two on the seas before you make it to your destination, to the new colonies.